start, action.
Every filmmaker builds films, but you are building worlds. Can you explain us what is the very first stone of your worlds?
Emotion is the cornerstone of any story, any engaging story, and particularly for all my stories. I mean, the world can be large. It can comprise of very large things, very large characters, very larger battle sequences, song sequences, whatever. But unless there is a core emotion that engages the audience, or first me, that engages me, I cannot start writing or cannot start thinking.
We are going to go back in the, let's call it the first spectacle, the origins. Can you remember as a child, maybe, the first image or images that made you dream and think, oh, what you achieved and accomplished was possible?
In India, we had comics, which are called Amar Chitrakada, but they are not like one or two characters that repeat, but it is the stories of India, of Indian mythology, Indian folklore, Indian history. So numerous volumes were made on Indian history, culture and mythology. So those are my first, what would I say, introduction into world of imagination. Those images, those writings, those stories are, I would say, the basis of my creativity.
Would you say that this imagination and creativity is glowing up, is increasing with age, or is it taming itself with adulthood?
What I thought was like, it is increasing, definitely increasing, there is no doubt about it. But what I thought was like, at a very young age, maybe in my early 20s, and so I thought I knew so much. I had so much of knowledge about stories or whatever, or all that. Then gradually, with age, I realized what I learned or what I know is a small, minuscule compared to the knowledge that it is present. So, humongous amount of knowledge that I have to get to know or learn. So, it is increasing, but with compared to what I see over there, so I don't see any progress. It is like a snail pace at which I'm going.
So we have not enough of one life to read the whole library.
Impossible. One life is never enough.
So how did you know that you would go through cinema to explore this library?
Like I said, I thought I knew so much. So my intention to come to cinema is not to learn; it is come to show to the world what I knew. Only later I came to know that I knew very little. But my intention to come cinema is that I think innate feeling or compulsion of every storyteller. Once you read a story or a story comes into your mind, you need to tell it to an audience. You need to see the expression of that audience. That is almost like an uncontrollable urge that every storyteller has. So that is what is driven me to cinema as well.
And when this idea is tickling your mind and your soul, and that you have this urge, how do you know you are ready to spend years with and through this idea?
I have this habit of dabbling with few ideas. I don't stick to one. I have these few ideas which I keep thinking about, develop it to a certain level and leave it there. Then I dabble with a new idea and develop it to a certain level and leave it. And at some point of time, one of the idea latches on to me and it stops leaving my thoughts. It is always there in my mind. And I know, like, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if I'm still stuck on that idea is still exciting me and I'm ready to jump into that project for the next 2-3 years, then I know, yes, this is the idea. So in fact, it is the idea that chooses me rather than me choosing the idea.
That's interesting. So your film, your creations are taming you more than you taming the idea.
I think so, yes.
Your artwork, your existence is full of scenes that audiences would thought impossible. How did you get to these achievements in the visual arts?
For me, I like to take the ability of a human being, the antagonist or the protagonist or whoever it is, to their maximum capacity, maximum humanly possible capacity, and I then push it even more. So my idea is that if the emotion driving that person is strong enough for the audience to feel for him, for example, Baahubali jumps across the chasm of waterfalls, but if by the time the audience are behind him, they are willing him to jump, then I can make him jump. It's not the possibility of whether he can jump or not, whether I have created enough creative tension in the audience that they are willing him to jump. That makes it click or not.
And considering you have the biggest audience in the world, I mean, India is an amazing audience and very dedicated and very, grateful. And
yes.
So you have the most cinematic power in the world.
Yes, I'm very, very lucky to be born in a country where storytelling is a part of life. I mean, India is a country which has chosen stories to tell the greatest of things, even the philosophies, how to live your life. India has a habit of telling that through stories. So that's the culture that's been there for like thousands and thousands of years. I just feel grateful, humbled, and lucky to be born in that country.
Would you say that the complexity of Hindu mythology is the fuel of your imagination too?
Absolutely, yes. We grew up learning the stories of Hindu mythology, the complexities, the grey characters, the positive characters, the negative characters, the dramatic moments, the larger-than-life characters, situations. Yes, it is. That's the exact word that you have put in. The fuel. That is the fuel that burns my engine.
And the fuel of the soul. The soul is the anima, and the animation is another fuel now.
Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, with all the great forms of storytelling that we have in our country, we severely lack in one of the greatest forms of storytelling, animation. It's a pity. It's a sad thing. For a long time, I don't know why animation is mostly looked as like a kid's cartoon. It is not looked beyond that. But from my childhood, I mean, I'm exposed to very little of animation, mostly the Disneys or Pixars, but even those, the films like Lion King or Aladdin or Toy Stories, they moved me so much, sometimes even more than a live action movie. I know the power of animation storytelling, animation films, but we don't have a network or a what do you call, network of how to make films, how to distribute them. Then once Baahubali is made, once we came up with the idea of expanding this into the multiverse of Hindu mythology through Baahubali, we thought, this is it. This is the place. This is how we can break that year-old conception of animation is a cartoon in India and take it beyond. So with Baahubali, the Eternal War, I'm pretty sure we are going to open the doors for animation in India.
So it's not a pity, it's an opportunity, it's a destiny.
Yes.
It's an horizon.
Yes, it is.
As a director, you're also a choreographer. And the layers we talked about, there are the emotion first, of course, but there are also actors, camera, action, music, rhythm, tempo, the tempo of life, finally. How do all these elements come like in harmony in your mind and then in your work?
I mean, I think you give me too much of credit calling me a choreographer, but I have a rhythm in my mind when the scene is conceived. There is a kind of flow that happens, but it is very difficult for me to explain that flow. So my cinematographers, my art directors, my production designers, my costume designers, all the technical team around me have one hell of a time trying to understand my flow. But I wouldn't leave it until I get my things right. As I'm working, I'll be explaining to my actors, to my choreographer, how the camera should move, how the actors should come in, how they should turn, how they should move. Because everything I feel enhances or subdues the emotion of that particular moment. So, fortunately, I have such a fantastic technical team who understand, maybe not in the first go, but gradually as we are working together, they understand my internal rhythm how I am pacing my scene. And it's actually them who work tirelessly to give my thoughts a rhythm.
Do you feel like this is the flow of life that is circulating from you to the technical team, to the last trains, to the whole cosmos you are creating?
Flow of life, you got it exactly right, but people can think that life on an external arena. For me, life is cinema. Everything revolves around cinema, filmmaking, storytelling. So yes, this is flow of my life, but it's also flow of my cinema, my life. And for me, very little exists outside filmmaking. So yes, it is flow of film, a flow of life, but flow of my life, which is my cinema.
Your artwork rely quite heavily on pre-visualization, on some design and animated thinking also. At what moment do you accept animation in the creating process?
It changes from sequence to sequence. Sometimes it is a scene that we create. First, I need to know what the world is, whether it is buildings or trees or water or air or fire, whatever. I need to know what the world is exactly before I start putting the characters and start animating it. Sometimes I'm very sure about how the characters should behave, how they should move, how they should be choreographed. So I'll be doing the animation completely, just putting few blocks for the world, because I know how the characters have to move. And once I get the animation right, then I start building the world around them. So it changes from sequence to sequence and scene to scene.
Some filmmakers with recognition are like getting bigger in the way they direct and produce and stuff. But you seem to have some kind of humility that like not makes you smaller, but like more sharp in the way of observing and more animated with the responsibility of what you have to do. Mm. Can you tell us how your ambition and self conscience has changed with the not success but recognition and expectations?
How do I put it? Humility, I think, comes by the way I'm brought up in the family. We have a large family, which we call, in India, we call it a combined family. So my fathers are 5 brothers, and all 13 of our cousins grew up very closely, and I am the last of the cousins, and I made to work for all my brothers, and so there is no way I can raise up my head or raise up my voice and say, and also respect in our culture is like taught right from my childhood. We need to respect our elders, we need to respect our guests, we need to respect anyone whom we don't know if they are elder to us, and we have to show love towards the younger ones. So there is no way we can, whether it's because of success or not because of success, there is no way I can just show my attitude. We are taught from a very young age that that's not the way of life. The more humble you are, the more you learn, the more you grow. That's what's been taught from my childhood. I think that reflects in my career as well. But there are times where my ego props up out of my humility. It raises its head, and I do or say some silly things. But my family is always there to watch yourself, look where you are going, and I just get back into my skin.
So you're never alone when you're directing and organizing all this?
My family is always there. My whole family is there. My father is a story writer. He's my film story writer. My cousin is my music director. My sister-in-law is my line producer. My wife is my costume designer. My son is my producer. So it is the whole family together that we make films.
We're back to the flow of life.
Yeah.